So it's Orc Rogue versus Orc Shaman. Orc Shaman's the hardest, obviously, for a Rogue because the stun resistance. He starts in Ghost Wolf, can't sap him, have to cheap shot and just hope it hits. Kidney gets resisted, that's pretty bad. Now, he already burns Sprint. Oh, he jukes the nade. That's really good. Now, this is the point of the duel where I think it's really, really a big mistake to gouge. I think we'll go back and see what happened there, but I think he throws the duel there. I think he had an incredibly winning duel. I think Guzu had everything going for him. Fyz was in a really bad spot. I actually think Fyz misplayed as well. And I think he messed up pretty bad there by not capitalizing on his sprint, basically. He basically just removed his sprint for no reason. So he gets the kidney to stand, though. He gets fake kicked, yeah. Now he's trying to stick the nade. The nade gets resisted and gouged. It's a little scary. He almost got 2 heals. The mind numbing saved him. Grace of Air. So he leaves the Agi totem. Doesn't really do much, which I think is smart for his combo points. Or he kidneys and actually lands. Okay, so that's duel 1. Let's look back at it because I think Fyz makes a big mistake, and I think he bails him out. So here, why is he casting Ghost Wolf? This is something I don't understand. I believe that because the Rogue has Sprint up, and the Rogue is at a very healthy life total, that, I mean, you can just safely attack him. I mean, because he has Sprint up and he's outrunning him, and there's no threat of getting like Earthbind totemed right now, I feel like there's no reason he can't just freely hit him for the next foreseeable future. So I don't understand why he feels the need to gouge and then blind and then break the totems when, number one, Fyz is in Ghost Wolf. He can't sap him, so he doesn't get to eat. He doesn't get to clear all the totems as easily. So you can't Ghost Wolf here. Number 2, I mean, your sprint is up. This is a good position. You just can keep killing the Shaman, and he's not doing anything. He's not healing. He's not doing damage. So I think because you have sprint up, because he can't get away from you, I think the fact that I think this casting of Ghost Wolf doesn't really do anything, to be honest with you. All it does is it says for the next, 6 seconds until I pop out to press shocks, for the next 6 seconds, I'm in Ghost Wolf. And it's like, well, who cares? The second he comes out, all you have to do is gouge him then, right? So then I'm thinking I want to use my combo points while he's in Ghost Wolf, and yeah, I guess he wants to be ultra safe. Being safe that's not how you play this matchup, though. I mean, it's not the Rogue's responsibility to play safe. He's at 80% HP. He has to kill the opponent, right? He just gave away 5 combo points. I mean, it's safer to just kill them, right? I don't think it's playing safe. Yeah. So then the cheap shot gets resisted. So that's unfortunate. So from this, we'll just go on from that point. I think blinding at that point is not needed. And I think you can basically, anytime the Shaman is kind of close to their totems, and they're out of the Ghost Wolf, you can just gouge them and get a free full blind. Gouge them, go poke their poison totem, blind them. Then you can sap, clear all the totems, eat food, and it's super good. So I would never gouge a Ghost Wolf or blind a Ghost Wolf unless you're super desperate. And I don't feel like he needed to be desperate with 80%. But after that, again, this is the vanish. In a perfect world, he would have vanished a little bit later, and Fyz's abilities would have gone off because it would have consumed the crit buff, basically. So because this is elemental mastery and it guarantees a crit, if he vanishes here, not only will Fyz lose a lot of mana, which doesn't really matter because he's full mana, but the elemental mastery will go on cooldown. And so the next time basically this Earth Shock is going to crit him for a ton of damage, the next spell from Fyz. So he gets fake kicked again. You see, Fyz is really good at faking the kick. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, but you're going to see it again. He's really good at faking kicks. And there's nothing really you can do about that. You can play improved kick so that it silences. You can try and be more patient with it, but the scary thing with being patient with the kicks is you're afraid of spell batching. So he still wins the duel. And he still saves his prep. So all in all, good first duel. I think that he had an opportunity to use his blind at a later point, and he did get unlucky with some of the stun resist, but he still won it pretty convincingly. And so all in all, went well. So we're on for duel 2, and he still has prep. He has evasion. I'm expecting him to press evasion like really early in the duel, since he's going to prep and he's going to get it back anyway. Obviously, he's going to have to do the same opener. Cheap shot. There's really no choice. But he marks the totem again. Okay. And so we should see another cheap shot. And he notice he stacks Fyz stacks the totems to make it hard to poke the right one. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, in the last duel, Guzu attacked a totem with his backstab or sinister strike. I don't like using energy on totems. His cheap shot gets resisted. He gets an early gouge. He could have honestly just blinded right there. He could have gone for the blind right there, because you catch him out of form, you can clear the totems, and you can reset and hopefully get an actual stun this time. So honestly, there, I think it would have been better. Okay, this is not great. Basically, a lot of things just went wrong there. His pets are kind of making life difficult. His gouge got broken by the pets, so he took a lot of extra damage for free. Yeah, and then he had to blind while in Ghost Wolf. This is kind of dangerous. Oh, this is bad. Yeah, so Guzu makes 2 mistakes. He might still be able to clutch this. Oh, the stun resist, no. Yeah, really unfortunate. Guzu basically made a couple mistakes, but also got really unlucky. So you can see it's not that bad of a matchup for Rogue, considering he's making mistakes and still is almost winning. But you can see, I think at this point in the duel, you can kill the Poison Cleansing Totem in blind. And I said last time that I didn't like the gouge in Ghost Wolf, but there's no reason to hang on to prep. It's not going to go on. The duel's not going to go for another minute without sprinting. Evasion doesn't do anything anyway. If he preps right here, so he clears the Poison Cleansing Totem, blinds Fyz. He then clears all the totems. He can sap him. He can eat food. He'll be at full health. Fyz will be, chunked a little bit. He can even cheap shot to the side to guarantee the stun. I think blinding here is a lot different than last time around, and I think it's fine. And again, you could hold on to the blind. It's just right now he doesn't have a ton of combo points, and he's about to take a lot of damage. But even if he elects not to use it, that's fine. It's a preference type of thing. Now here comes Ghost Wolf. You need to instantly prep sprint, I think, here. I think prep sprint has to be the response to Ghost Wolf. Oh, this is actually smart, though. He does save the sprint because of basically Fyz's movement and the poison proc. He doesn't actually need to sprint yet. So now, this is really good. This is the same thing that I said. Okay, here's what went wrong. It hasn't been 15 seconds. So when is the first gouge? The first gouge is at 24:27. And it ends at 24:31. So we'll see if it's been 15 seconds. I'm pretty sure the issue was his gouge is on DR. Yeah, it's not even been like 10 seconds yet. Yeah, so this is a DR gouge. So this doesn't really do anything, to be completely honest. So this gouge was just probably a nerves thing. You really don't want to DR your gouge like this, because he can clear the totem, but because the gouge is DR'd, not only did he have to use energy because he was trying to clear it really fast, but now he can't even blind off of this because he drops Poison Cleansing here, right? So he kind of just does a pretty big blunder, but nerves thing, probably forgot it was on DR. So now this is really bad too. This is really bad. And if Fyz reacts with a Poison Cleansing Totem, you lose the duel. But Fyz instead goes for Ghost Wolf, which is kind of a curious option because you see him running towards the Poison Cleansing Totem. All you have to do is replace it, and you just instantly win. But instead he goes for Ghost Wolf, which is a sort of a counter to the blind because, well, I mean, it does prevent you from getting sapped in the blind, but you could have also just prevented the blind by Poison Cleansing. But whatever. Maybe he wants to bait out the blind. Maybe it's strategic. But the issue is now sprint has been used. All right. Now because we are using sprint to try and get the blind off, now there's no sprint. So now there's concern that you're going to get kited by the shaman with not having a gap closer. So now Ghost Wolf all of a sudden is much scarier. And you can see he goes for a cheap shot here and it sticks. This is the second mistake of the duel. He just needs to gouge here. He needs to go in front and gouge, and he's too slow. The gouge needs to be cast right now, and it will, gouge the shaman. But what happens instead is, and it's going to be a full gouge. What happens instead is he waits too long, and then he gets unlucky. A dodge can't occur during a stun. So if he gouges during the stun, then it's perfect. Everything's dandy. The problem is he was expecting the gouge to hit, so he starts a Band-Aid. And you can see he starts a Band-Aid, immediately gets shocked, and this is just a bad position. He does stick a full kidney. Now at this point, this is desperation time. This is where you need to start seeing grenade, vanish, cheap shot, and just go for it and pray, right? Because the next shock is going to kill you, and the shock was cast like moments ago, so you know it's coming. So now I almost would have liked to see potentially try and go for a spell botch on the shock. It's again, you're in a bad position. You kind of need to go for a big play. If he would have evasioned and then tried to vanish the shock, he potentially would have could have been in a better position. If this cheap shot lands, he still wins the duel though. So maybe it's too greedy. Actually, you know what? It's too greedy to try and vanish the Earth Shock. I think I take that back. I think all he does is vanish, cheap shot, 75% chance to win, and it didn't happen. So just again, I think Guzu made a couple small missteps, but he still could have won if he didn't get unlucky. So if he played perfectly, he would have 2-0'd even with all the resists. But he did get a lot of stun resists. That was pretty unlucky. But interesting duel, and I think Fyz overall played well, except for that when he starts ghost wolfing while Guzu has sprint. I don't think that really does anything, especially when Guzu's not low on life and like in need of a Band-Aid. But interesting.